Colorado beats its in-state rival Colorado State 28-9. And Brian, we just walked by the Centennial Trophy. They're going to have it in their possession for a little while because CU is not going to play CSU again until 2029.
Yeah, they've had it in their possession for a long time. I mean, this is 7 straight wins, and and it's not every year, so they've had it in their possession for a very long time, and it's going to be a very long time. And this was dominating fashion. 28-9 does not look dominating on a score, but I thought it was a dominating game, and certainly more so than last year when the Buffs needed to eke out one in double overtime and needed sort of a miracle drive from Shedeur at home and even forced overtime. So I thought I was impressed with the way the Buffs responded tonight. And last week, Coach Prime, he said our team did not meet the moment. They really met the moment tonight, and I think that was a big step for this team because they struggled responding to adversity last year. I thought this was a really big point for this team. Yeah,
Colorado did a great job defensively for much of this game. Now, they were helped by Colorado State's mistakes. In the first half, both of Colorado's first 2 touchdowns came after Colorado State had a personal foul penalty, and Colorado was behind the chains in both those situations. And obviously a couple bad turnovers by the Rams as well. 4 turnovers in total for Colorado State today. So Colorado deserves a lot of credit for bouncing back after last week's performance and for coming into a pretty tough environment, although I think compared to what they faced in Lincoln last week, this was child's play almost compared to that. But it was still the biggest crowd in Canvas Stadium history.
In CSU history, actually, even counting U's. Wow. So biggest one in CSU history. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, you're good. But they were aided. And the reason I say that is that this Colorado team still needs to improve as they go forward because they're going to need better performances even against some of the teams they have coming up.
Yeah, totally agree. But I thought there was a lot of positives out of it. I thought, and I don't know if you're going to get to this, but I guess I'll get to it. But one thing I really liked seeing tonight that I wanted to see was them running the football. And I thought it was important tonight to show that you can run the football and try to get some confidence in that regard. And they did. It's not like it was they didn't rush for 300 yards or anything like that. I mean, it was barely over 100. And you need that nice run from Charlie Offerdahl at the end to push it over 100. But
baby steps, Brian, baby steps.
They had 75 in the first 2 games combined. And so congratulate them for over 100 yards rushing. And to be honest with you, it was impressive at times with Micah Welch and Isaiah August, even though he had a fumble. I thought those 2 guys ran really well tonight. And I thought that was a good step. But you're right. There's things to improve. But I thought they did some improving tonight too. This was a much better performance all the way around. I mean, mentally, maybe not the penalties, but mentally, just physically, I thought this was a better week. This was a big step forward from Colorado this week.
Yeah, how about Micah Welch with 25 yards on his first carry? Yeah. That was the longest run of the season at that point for Colorado, and still is, I guess, going forward. Yeah, Isaiah Augustov had some really nice downhill runs. I really like his running style. Yeah. But, man, it just kind of negates what you did on the ground when you put it on the ground like that.
Yeah, you don't like to see that. But I agree with you. I love his running style. I think they've got something there, especially when you add Dallin Hayden into the mix. Because I like the way he's been running with the limited chances he's gotten. Now you see 3 guys, you're like, okay, that looks pretty good. Just don't fumble it. Yeah. But I think that they saw something there. And Shedeur was asked, "What did you think about getting the running game?" He goes, "I loved it." Yeah. And so. And he brought the offensive line in, and so that we've seen that move a few times over the years, and so it was cool to see them do that tonight.
They switched up things a little bit on the offensive line. Phillip Houston starts at right tackle. Tyler Brown moves into left guard. It certainly wasn't a perfect performance, but kind of like the season opener, you're going to take that from those guys. Now, it seemed like I think everybody on that starting O-line got flagged at some point today. That's obviously an area they got to clean up, but you need that group to be serviceable, and tonight they were.
Yeah, and I think it was 1 sack, and if I remember, the 1 sack was really Shedeur giving himself up on a busted play, and so it wasn't really I don't even think he got hit on the play. I think it was just him literally giving himself up. He didn't get hit a whole lot. I thought this was They had one sack allowed against North Dakota State. I thought this was a much different one sack night. He got hit a lot against NDSU. I didn't feel like he got hit a lot tonight. And to go over 100 yards rushing, kudos to the offensive line, because even Coach Prime mentioned it. Hey, you guys blasted them after last week. They deserve some kudos tonight, and I agree with him. You know, I was one. I mean, we were all critical of that offensive line. You got to give them credit for coming out and having a good game tonight.
Travis Hunter, 13 catches for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Defensively has an interception, a nice third down stop where he showed some physicality with a really nice tackle. I think another pass breakup. Go back to offense, he drew a pass interference call. I mean, he does it all. Were you more impressed with him on offense or defense tonight?
Probably defense, because of the pick. And because of that play that where he ran down Avery Morrow on the big 62-yard run that set up the CSU touchdown. But I will say, I'm saying this tongue in cheek, I was disappointed in Travis in that, because he said in the post game he got tired. I didn't think he got tired. So we did learn he is human, because he did admit he got tired after that play, and he actually took himself out because he was tired. And so I'm not disappointed in Travis, but it was to me it was kind of funny that he said that, but he was impressive. I mean, the 13 catches, 100 yards is pretty impressive too. Yeah. First Buff ever, 4 straight 100-yard receiving games, and so to do that, and you're maybe the top corner in the country, that's pretty good. After
the post-game press conference, we were talking. Travis Hunter has to be firmly in the Heisman Trophy discussion right now, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's throw this out there. We were talking about this. How many games does Colorado need to win for him to actually win the Heisman? And
assuming that he continues to play like he is.
So let's say he does this for 12 weeks, right? I think 6-6. If he's doing this and the Buffs are a 6-6 team, I think he can win the Heisman, because he's so unique and he's just so different from what we've seen at any point in time. I mean, Champ Bailey's the closest thing, but he didn't do anywhere near what Travis has done through 3 weeks. If Travis does this over 12, I think you got to give it to him.
Yeah, and part of that depends, obviously, what other guys do, going forward. But, I think 7 or 8 wins, you start to really think that he deserves it and should win the award.
Yeah, and the point is, we're seeing the Heisman Trophy goes to guys that are usually in that college football playoff discussion, right? If they're not in it, they're right there. It's usually guys that they've only lost 1 or 2 games. Travis, to me, is unique in that he could come from a team that loses 3, 4, 5, 6 games and be in that discussion. He'll be in New York. I'll just say that he'll at least be in New York if they're 6-6.
Looks like they got a pretty good defensive coordinator in Robert Livingston.
Yeah, you've got to be impressed with the defense at this point. I mean, the CSU offense, I don't know how good they are yet. We kind of talked about it this week, but like week 1 they get shut out by Texas, who's one of the best teams in the country. Last week they have a big game, but it's Northern Colorado. CU, I give them credit, they shut them down. I mean, the Rams have some good players with Braden Fowler, Nicolosi, Torrey Horton. I'm drawing a blank. He's really good though. They have some good players. Justin Marshall. There you go. Sorry. They have some good players on offense, though, and the Buffs did a good job against them. So they got something here on defense.
Preston Hodge, a nice interception, a really poor decision by Colorado State's quarterback on that one. And defensively, the linebackers, again, really showed up. It seems like they have found the best pair, and then Trevor Woods comes in passing situations and does well in that role. Nakai Hill-Green has really come on the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, Levonta Bentley has been impressive, with what he's been doing. But Nakai Hill-Green, the thing I kept thinking when I was watching him tonight is, man, he hits hard, and he hits on point, right? He gets there quick and he hits hard, and both those guys do. And Levonta Bentley had the strip, the fumble, he stripped and recovered near the goal line. But those 2 guys, to me, this is saying a lot. There's a lot of games we've covered, right? This might be one of the best linebacker duo games we've seen in a long time, where both guys played super well.
Yeah. And on the defensive line, no Chidozie Nwankwo, Anquin Barnes steps in there. And we got a cool story that Coach Prime mentioned after the game about the fact that Levonta Bentley wasn't supposed to practice the second half of a practice this past week. And then he goes out, Coach Prime does on his walk, and he sees Bentley out on the practice fields working with Barnes. And so he has really stepped up in that leadership role and become a vital part of this team. And there was a play early in this game, Brian, where Vonta Bentley could have potentially gotten ejected for targeting. Right. They didn't call that. Right. So that was huge that they didn't call that, because he is so important to this team.
Yeah, that would have impacted them quite a bit. But yeah, that was a cool story from Coach Prime, and it says a lot about his leadership, but also I think it says something about the closeness of this team, that you've got some teammates that are stepping up for each other. These are guys that just got to know each other this year. They didn't play together. In fact, Anquan Barnes was at Alabama, and Vonta Bentley was at Clemson, which those were two pretty good rivals there for a little bit. So, yeah, that was a pretty cool story. And Chidozie Nwankwo, I think, is a great player. The Buffs didn't miss him tonight, I don't think. And I think, credit to Anquan Barnes and those other guys for stepping up. Shane Coates did really well tonight, too. Yeah.
Alejandro Mata missed his only field goal attempt. Mark Vassett had a shank. He did come back to pin CSU at the 3-yard line later in the game. And LeJontay Wester kind of mishandled a punt return as well. So that's another area that they need to get better at.
Yeah, special teams I thought was going to be pretty rock solid, but it's shown some cracks the last couple of weeks. And that's 2 straight weeks that Mark Vassett's had a shank. His other punts have been pretty good, but he's had 2 straight weeks with that. And, the kicking game has been a little rough the last couple of weeks. A blocked field goal. I don't know what to make of the 61-yard attempt last week, but it was way short, and then to have one miss. So is that 3 straight field goals? Or no, I think Mata made one late last week. And so 3 out of 4 that they've missed. And so, yeah, it's been a little rough, but that's certainly got to get shored up before Big 12 play.
Braden Fowler-Nicolosi was still running his game during the game, apparently telling Travis Hunter that he's too small. It got Coach Prime a little riled up in his post-game press conference. He clearly is not a big fan of the way the Rams carry themselves in these Rocky Mountain showdowns.
Yeah, he's not. Maybe it's a good thing for Coach Prime that he doesn't have to see this team for 5 years. But, yeah, he's certainly not like that. He was asked about that, and he just like, why would you do that? And, why would you? This is Travis Hunter, man. And I think we were all thinking the same thing. Like, really, you're gonna do that to Travis Hunter? As I mentioned before, I think Braden Fowler-Nicolosi is a good quarterback. He's good for the Rams, but he's good for a couple of, a pick or two a lot of times too. And yeah, he's not in the position to do that to Travis Hunter. There's really nobody that's in position in college football to do that to Travis Hunter.
All right, a much-needed early season victory for Colorado. Up next is homecoming, Baylor coming to Folsom Field.